There was a time when we were a just society, one that respected the computer. It's time to get back to that. The computer and the otherworldly portal it can connect to, called the internet, used to have its own altar, its own place for the connection ritual to take place. We didn't live our lives tethered to the other plane. So to heal my inner child, this year for my birthday, I managed to pick up an old school proper wood desk to rebuild the 2000s dream desk. As is usually the case when I want furniture, I felt like I had seen old desks everywhere in thrift stores and being given away. I'd started to think, you know what? At some point I should rework my studio to incorporate one of these. I used to have a retro desk corner, but I took over it for work. And of course, when I went to start looking for one of these for myself, they were nowhere to be found. I wanted one with the right stained wood, a keyboard tray, shelves for games and knickknacks, and a room for a beefy CRT, the good stuff. None of that modern, flat-packed trash. I managed to find this one on Facebook Marketplace for just about $50. I'm around 25 minutes away from me, so I spent the first half of my birthday hauling it back in two halves, barely fitting it in my SUV. It was time to get to work. This desk would be replacing this desk TV stand hybrid that I built in 2020. Oh, it's been 5 years already. Man, time flies. That hybrid station was originally designed to hold my BVM D24 broadcast video monitor, a heavy boy at eye level, and allow me to basically set up and wire every console at once. It was neat at my apartment where I had little space for a game room, but here at the studio, it's never quite been as useful. It's too tall to use as much of a desk, it isn't needed as a TV stand anymore, and I never got around to making it look nice, so it was just an eyesore for storage. After ripping out the old, it was time to go in with the new old new. The desk. It was in pretty decent shape, with only a little bit of damage, more than acceptable given its age, and it was made of some pretty decent wood, meaning it's held up over the years, but it's a heavy beast. Sliding it into place reveals that it fits as perfect as one could ask for to replace the old setup, nearly identical in size, leaving just a little extra room on the side for additional PC towers. The upper shelves are a separate piece that I attached, had to move a bit around in the space to get everything to fit in there, and then it was slid into place. One thing I wanted to get rid of is there was some sort of company branding sticker on the keyboard tray. The previous owner thought it was actually a built-in mouse pad, but no, it's just a sticker. I did really well getting it off for about the first half of it, but the other half did damage the finish a bit. This is really unfortunate, but this is a really long keyboard tray, so I'm not too worried about it. I have plenty of room for a mouse and keyboard, and then I can just cover the spot with some knickknacks. This desk has a monitor spot, extra desk space, slide-out keyboard tray, a little pocket area for shelves or fitting a desktop tower, 3 big drawers down below. Up top we've got CD slots, shelves galore, and a corkboard area. The previous owners put brad nails in this for some reason, but pins and sticky notes shall return to their home. Once it was built, it was time to load it up and decorate. I've basically been acquiring stuff for the past 10 years that I thought might eventually look neat on an old school Y2K desk. So it was a lot of fun walking around the studio and just grabbing stuff to put on here. And this is what I ended up with. I am over the moon. I am ecstatic with how this turned out. It was so great pulling so many things off of my shelves or out of boxes that I had kind of acquired for set building purposes, knowing one day I would be building more kind of retro style sets and finding a home for it here. Like, I had a desk, my family had a desk very similar to this growing up, a lot smaller, and basically everyone I've shown this picture to, pictures of this to, have said, I had that desk, or I had a desk that looked just like that, or maybe like small. Like, everyone recognizes this desk if you grew up around the time when you performed the ritual of connecting to the internet. And it brings me so much joy to just sit down here and mess around or play a game or whatever. The technical side of this is still a little bit work in progress, but I do want to show you what I have going on here. So up top, I have mostly display games. I've got big box PC games, a little shelf of PS1 games, because I would have always had my consoles kind of close by with my PC games, and I do have a giant TV right here to play those console games on. I've got the old VX1000, the old skateboarding camera. This is a Japanese one, and currently I can't get the tape tray to actually eject, so presently it is a paperweight, but I do plan on getting it restored at some point. But otherwise I've got lots more big box PC games. Some are newer, some are older. It's kind of a mix, and that's kind of, I know a lot of people are going to be like, you can't claim it's from X year or whatever because there are stuff newer than that. It's about the general vibe of that time period, because especially back then, like these days, when you see videos and pictures about specific setups, like everyone's upgrading every component or little piece of it to the newest year's model to hoard affiliate link revenue or whatever. Whereas back in the day, I had the same overall setup for like 10 or 15 years, and my games and my accessories would kind of blend across the years. So it's kind of what I have going on. So I've got like Fable the Lost Chapters, Half-Life 2, Zoombinis, but then I've also got Dragon Age Inquisition and Titanfall, just because I wanted them in here to represent some newer stuff. Sigil, System Shock, Dangerous Dave, Quake, Morrowind box set, Diablo Battle Chest, stuff like that. I've got PC CD games and PS1 games on the CD shelves here. A Dex drive for dumping Nintendo 64 games. Some little mini CDs to burn. I've got the classic Aquarium Light Akira VHS tape. Got a whole drawer of PS1 games here. Obviously, I love the PlayStation 1. Some more big box stuff and webcam down here that I will eventually unbox and set up. I've even got a sealed box copy of Netscape Navigator, my favorite web browser back in the day. Pretty sick. And then I've got the old school green lamp running an aperture bulb that I can control remotely. Classic pin cup. Got the beefy Roland speakers. Nice little multimedia keyboard and Microsoft IntelliMouse going on there. So overall, it is a pretty slick setup, and it's everything that I had hoped for. Storage-wise, I still haven't made the most of it. The drawers down here are holding, like the bottom drawer is holding a bunch of Xboxes and a PS3, because who doesn't have a drawer of those, I guess? And then the top drawer is like expansion cards and stuff for my Windows XP rig that I still have to restore. Had to look what was in the second drawer. The second drawer is controllers. But the vibes are here. Functionality is there. I can play games on either my modern gaming computer run through the CRT or my Windows 98 rig. My Windows 98 rig, I do have to get a new sound card for. I can't get the one that came with it from my aunt functioning anymore. Apparently it's a widely spread issue these days. And then I do have a Windows XP rig I am working on restoring, but that is a whole dedicated project video itself, and it will probably be over on my main channel when I get that set up. To control everything, I just have a standard PS2 keyboard and a Microsoft IntelliMouse USB mouse, and those are run through a USB switch that actually has a mechanical little keypad to switch inputs, which is completely overkill, but great. I just have it mounted with adhesive under the desk. And then the computers are all run through VGA through an Extron VGA switcher, which also switches the audio to the speakers. And then that's bounced through a splitter, which runs it to the monitor, and it's supposed to run it to my RetroTink 4K to capture. The problem I am running into is I need to go like 15 feet to get VGA over to where my RetroTink and my capture setup is. And VGA just does not hold up. I'm getting all sorts of degradation. And so I either need a smooth HDMI conversion, which doesn't happen very often, or I need to have a separate RetroTink and capture setup here. This is actually, I've quoted 3 PCs. I've got Modern Gaming, XP Gaming, Windows 98 Gaming, which could also do a little bit of DOS. But there's actually a 4th PC, which controls the displays that I have up here typically, and I have one overhead that you can't really see for just background set stuff that I could use as a capture rig if I need a separate RetroTink over here. So I haven't figured that out yet, but like, I am over the freaking moon. This is everything I wanted. It is rock solid. Like, I'm really shaking on it here. It is not going anywhere. This is now a staple anchor of my setup. Like, I will always have this kind of retro desk setup going on in my space. And I am so glad I finally did this. I wish I'd done it sooner. I kind of wish I had done it instead of building the one I had for the BVM, but that was for, I specifically wanted the BVM to be up more at eye level, to be more like a proper TV stand and all of that. It was a completely different function. But now that I'm into the retro PC side more, this thing is not going away. This thing will have to rot or collapse before I get rid of it. I hope you enjoyed this video. A little bit different than what I typically post over here, but like, both for video set vibes and for playing, this is just such a good time. Healing my inner child. I do hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you've been into this summer. I've been mostly away from making videos over the summer. If you missed it, I did post a channel update to my main channel. A mix of some like hardcore Burnout,
overwork from some sponsorship contracts for main channel, as well as some power and other issues in the studio with the heat waves we had this year. All of that is resolved, and I am working on alternating my current strategy, and I that may change, but my current strategy is to just alternate Epos Fox and Lost Saves videos every other video. That way I am making it very consistent here, because this channel is kind of my favorite thing to do these days. Thanks so much for watching. Go check out the main channel update, all of that, and my podcast with BBK Dragoon. If you're looking for more of me talking about gaming, we do have the Dualcom podcast a couple times a month. We are coming up on the 1-year anniversary, which is crazy. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to be kind. Rewind.